We walked through some of Zionsville's most beautiful new construction, and here's what buyers, sellers, and future homeowners need to pay attention to. Welcome to Hoosier Homes and Hustles. I'm Stacy Preston, and I'm here with Miss Indianapolis Real Estate to talk about luxury homes in Zionsville, Indiana.
Today we're taking a little field trip through Zionsville, Indiana, where both Stacy and I separately toured the 2026 Parade of Homes and got to walk through some incredible new construction film builders like David Weekley Homes at Wild Air, Wedgewood Building Company, and my personal favorite, Old Time Design Group. And listen, yes, the homes were beautiful. The kitchens were giving Pinterest boarded, while the primary suites were giving Do Not Disturb. But as real estate advisors, we're not just looking at pretty finishes, we're looking at layout, lifestyle, resale value, construction quality, and what today's luxury buyer is really responding to.
And a quick note, if you're thinking about new construction, reach out before you walk into a model home. Remember, the builder has representation, and so should you.
So when we talk about Zionsville, if someone's moving here or doesn't know much about Zionsville, let's lay it out for them. All right. What do you think Zionsville represents?
Zionsville to me is great because it has the small town charm. It's got luxury neighborhoods. It's got really cute neighborhoods close to their brick street, but it's also close to Indianapolis. Zionsville is also one of our highest price points in the state of Indiana. So there are probably more luxury options in Zionsville than in any other area in Indiana.
I mean, you're right. Zionsville has a way of making you feel like you should be carrying a latte, wearing linen, casually discussing where the wine room should go.
Absolutely. Like if you don't have a wine room, like you're not in Zionsville, right?
Exactly. So what this matters for anyone that's actually listening. So for our buyers, I mean, this is going to be a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of market education. For sellers, understanding what buyers are now expecting.
For investors, we're looking at design trends and long-term value. And for people that are relocating to the area, we're going to provide some context on why Zionsville stands out on the north side in the luxury market.
All right, Stacey, let's first tackle the David Weekley homes in the Wild Air development. What's something that stood out for you when touring those properties?
This property stood out to me just because of the open concept on the main level. I loved how the kitchen kind of seamlessly had access to the dining area, living areas, and then also the office. It did have a butler pantry, which there's a new word for that. What is that called now?
Galleries?
A scullery. So I liked how that was all very accessible. There was a main floor bedroom as well. But for me, I think the neighborhood and the amenities that are going to be there are what people would be buying that for is more of the lifestyle, the walkability, the pools, the pickleball courts, the dog wash, like the things that the wild air community is going to have to offer. What about you?
Yeah, I would say it is more of that suburban neighborhood feel from all the ones that I toured that day. But like you said, the openness downstairs at the main floor, having a primary on the main is definitely something I've seen a lot of buyers looking for. So having that, I think, is almost becoming more popular in new builds as well. And again, the amenities, having easy access to amenities is definitely something people are looking for.
I think the basement was really cool in that home as well. They did a nice job of making that a real great multi-use space. And did you notice I swear it had three front doors. It had like a front door in the living, dining, and or like entryway, dining, and the office space had French doors to the front porch, which I thought was really different.
Yeah, I would definitely imagine that you would really like their basement because they even had it set up as like a little library reading nook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was cool. All right. Well, I think the next one might have been both of our favorites was Old Town Design Group. What stood out to you with them?
Oh, easily just walking straight up to the front door. That beautiful arch door. They do a lot with arches, and that's like my go-to. So absolutely loved that high-end kitchens, but still open to everything. So functionally layout all really worked. Again, of course, mentioned there with the sculleries or there's butlers, pantries, all that extra storage and organization because I love organization. I was in log
Yes,
cabin.
I'm sure you
Um,
were.
yes. So those are definitely some of the things that stood out. And like we're definitely coming into more of the warmer colors, woods, things of that nature. We're really kind of stepping away from the gray, and that was all
Yeah,
very
I would
timeless in
say
there.
I noticed that on all of them. We're seeing the wood tones again, which just did a kitchen remodel, and I'm so glad I did put a little bit of wood in there because it was right as we are coming off the white trend. So
You
that's
have to have
good.
that timeless trend, Stacy, in your
Right.
honor.
So the next one we toured was Wedgewood Building Company. This was in Holiday Farms. They've built in Promontory of Zionsville as well. And again, this was very high-end luxury, very custom. I thought the standout on this house was the outdoor living space. I loved how it had a bar with windows that open into the home and just the ultimate space for entertaining if you were going to have people out in your back patio area and inside. It just flows seamlessly. So I loved that. It's on the golf course, so great views. It was stunning. What did you like about that one?
Yes, to me, it really was the outside area, like you're mentioning, because they had two outdoor fireplace areas. It was almost like a his and a hers option if you wanted
Yeah.
to, with a great view of that golf course, like you had mentioned, with the bar area. So for entertaining, this was a house for entertaining by far.
Yeah.
But they also still brought in those wood arches, wood beams, things of that nature, which made absolutely beautiful two-story entries, amazing basements with wine areas.
Yes.
So, you know, your girl loving wine is perfect there. Entertainment space downstairs. So these new builds are definitely appealing towards the entertaining lifestyle, all of that. But for this house in particular, those two exterior covered patios were just amazing, I think,
Yeah,
to have those
they were.
options.
I also have to give a shout out to the upstairs loft. I never have seen a loft done so well. You would go upstairs, and we may be able to find a video clip of it, and it was elevated.
Mhm.
So you went upstairs, there were some bedrooms up there, but then there was a living space that was open and elevated that you could see from the stairway. And it just kind of really made it, I don't know, stand out. Plus, from that room, there was huge windows where you could see the golf course. It was beautiful. Custom light fixtures. It just very well done. Most of the time, I feel like a loft is like a complete afterthought with most builders. It's just there.
It's
It's
just
not
space,
it's not a
blank space.
statement. But this one was like a statement. I loved it.
Right. So some of the trends we're seeing amongst all the homes that we've toured is definitely something we just slightly touched on, and that the warmth is coming back. Gray is definitely taking a sidestep, and we're
Yep.
getting that warmth, the neutrals, the taupes, natural wood elements. So that is definitely something I'm seeing across the board.
Yeah, I think I saw zero gray. I mean, no gray flooring, no gray walls. So yeah, that the warmth is back and it's back in a big way. I love it.
Yes.
So the one thing I noticed in all of them, even the one with David Weekley Homes, I'll say that one was our lowest price point starting in the 700s. It even had this is the sculleries and prep kitchen. So you've got the pretty kitchen and then the working kitchen, which is again great if you're entertaining. You don't have to have all of your prep stuff out. Just allows for more space for people to enjoy your pretty kitchen while someone's in the other kitchen putting things together. I even noticed in that one, or in, gosh, I can't remember which builder it is now, but in the prep kitchen, they had a separate set of double ovens, which I
Yes.
thought was cool. Some of them had like built-in ice makers. Just, I love that feature.
I will say that some of these new builds have had such small refrigerators in the main kitchen, which is a little underwhelming for me. However, if they
Yes.
have that second refrigerator in the scullery or the prep kitchen, then okay, I'm on board with that as long as we have all the space needed.
Well, then
Because it can't just
some
be
of
pretty, it has to be functional.
That's right. But some of them also had a full refrigerator in the basement where the bar was too. So I think there's probably refrigerator space. It just may not all be in one spot.
Well, I don't want to
So
have to go all the way down to the basement when I'm cooking.
true. That is true.
All right. The other thing is the outdoor living space. So a lot of them all had some sort of covered patio, if not more than one, with screens, which is so important here in Indiana because we have quite a few bugs. So having that with your fireplace option, those outdoor kitchens, even heaters, like built-in heaters,
Yes.
it's really extending our Indiana season living for sure, which is a great amenity to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And in almost all of them, they had these huge doors that you could just leave open. And you're right, without the screens over those patios, you're not really going to want to leave those doors open. Let's be real. You could have a bird fly into your house. Like, no one wants that. So I think those screens around the patios are an awesome feature if you've got great outdoor living spaces. So next, I would say the statement and layered lighting. We saw pendants, sconces, under cabinet lighting, accent lighting, and it really does change the home. That is
It
not
does.
something you see with production builders. I loved in like almost every primary suite, you had huge statement lighting pieces above, but then something built in on the bedside, like over the bedside nightstands. Same thing with the bathrooms. Like you had lighting custom at the vanities, even in the closets.
Yes. I mean,
Some of
you
the
need to
closets
see. You
had,
need to see in the closet.
right, some of those closets had better lighting than, what most houses have in an entryway. So the lighting definitely changes things.
Yes, the under cabinet lighting is definitely a fan favorite of my husband's, that's for sure.
Yes.
The next thing I would say is definitely the ceiling detail. And as someone that
Yes.
has
Oh
beams in
my
my
gosh, the
home, I can
ceilings.
appreciate beam work, arched beam work, not even just regular flat to the ceiling beam work, but your tray ceilings. So you're getting those different elevations and those wood accents, as we mentioned before, we're seeing a lot of wood coming back. And it's just a beautiful feature to feel elevated and have a little something more custom to it.
Yes, I loved in one of the primary bedrooms, the ceiling work in there. Again, it was wood beams, they had arches to them. It was just so dramatic when you walk into that room and you just look up. So I do love all of the ceiling details that we saw. The next thing I noticed is just some moody spaces, powder baths, offices, bars, very dark, a lot of darker wood, darker wallpaper. So I feel like that might be kind of a trendy thing that we're seeing right now.
Yes, definitely. Again, in the smaller spaces. So it's easier for folks to change that out later on as trends tend to change.
Right.
But like as far as flex space, yes, these homes are much larger or square footage. So you have options to do separate guest suites, gyms, maybe a hobby room, offices. Like we're not talking 2020 COVID makeshift offices. These are specifically made for your home office, built for success. I mean, they are gorgeous spaces. You should be getting a lot of work done in there. I know
Like
I would be.
you could host a meeting with your board in some of these
Absolutely.
offices. They were beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those flex spaces, again, I mean, some of them had movie theater spaces, the wine chiller rooms. There is plenty of space to do with what your lifestyle might call for.
Yeah, I noticed in every one of them a gym or some kind of workout space, which I think is after COVID, I do think a lot of people have moved from the gym to a home gym, especially if you have the space. But
Mhm.
some of those gyms, I mean, the flooring, they had the mirrors, the lighting. I mean, it was like an actual gym.
Right.
So I noticed that in several of them. Next, I think storage. Storage is the unsung luxury. You've got pantries, mudrooms, closet systems, built-ins. Jessica, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I like to know where my stuff is, so I am all for that. I love the space to have as much organization as any one person might want. So I love it.
I have to throw in here two things that I love, especially as a mom of three. Is the laundry rooms in some of these homes were like two sets of washers and dryers side by side with all of this cabinetry and space to fold. And I mean, I would love to be in that room for hours at a time folding. It was beautiful. And I loved in some of the homes they have kind of near the butler pantry and the mudroom would be like a little desk area built in. I saw that in a few of them, just a place again to drop things, bills, paperwork, kids, homework, not the office. It was separate from the office, but just another little space to have kind of a workspace. So I liked that.
All right, so the primary suites, I mean, talk about spa-like feels in these en suites. I mean, you have your separate vanities. They're not even right next to each other. So if you need your space or if one person is a little bit dirtier than the other, it's nice to have that separation. The soaking tubs, the huge showers that lead straight into your huge walk-in closets that have the islands and again, built-in storage. So if you're an organized, I don't want to say freak, but if you love your organization, it is ideal after you are walking right out of that spa-like suite.
Yeah, one of the small features, this goes back to lighting that I noticed on those, is most of the vanities were elevated and they had lighting underneath. I loved that. I thought that was a really nice touch.
All right, so after this tour, what we want buyers to know, especially if you're either relocating or if you're just new to the new construction process, is that any model home, this is really more of like a first date version of a house. It's all dressed
I
up and
love
on its
that.
best behavior, but you really need to ask those deeper questions.
Right. You also want to pay attention to the layout, not just the finishes. Where do the groceries come in? Where do they end up? Is that going to work for you? Shoes, backpack, laundry. Is it on the main floor or is it on the upper floor? And that doesn't work for you. So layout matters. And again, back to Jessica's point.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at this standard versus upgraded, a lot of model homes often include significant upgrades, not
Yes.
reflected in that base price. So, as you're walking through them, you see all these beautiful bells and whistles, and just know that not necessarily everything comes with that initial price. So, understanding that upfront is important for expectations.
Exactly. The other thing to consider with new construction, probably the most important thing, is your lot choice. Where is it at? Is there natural light? Do you have neighbors behind you? This is more important than the shiny kitchen, in my opinion, because this cannot be changed.
Right.
And it's one of those things when you go to resell, if you've got a lot that doesn't have an optimal layout, or you've got, again, neighbors right behind you or no privacy versus the lot that backs up to the pond or has green space behind it, that really matters. And I always say it makes more sense to pay for the lot upgrade because that is something you cannot change and it will help you when you resell.
And then the most important thing for buyers is you want to bring your agent to register you with that builder. We help you compare, negotiate, and protect yourself throughout that process. Because again, as Stacy said earlier, the builder has representation and you need it as well.
Right. And for whatever reason, a lot of buyers just don't understand how the realtor works in the building process, but most builders work with us. I've talked to a lot of them that they prefer to work with us. We make their job easier too. So why not have someone on your side, especially if you're looking at these luxury homes? This is a big investment and you should definitely have representation. So, next, let's talk about what sellers should know. So, know that you're not just competing with a house down the street, you're competing with a feeling of new construction too. And I think that this is something that sellers don't think about because they're just looking within their neighborhood, but buyers are looking at all neighborhoods. And new construction neighborhoods are something they're seeing. It's on all of the search engines, they see them on Zillow, and they offer a lot of upgrades and things that maybe you can't. So, with that being said, you definitely have to prepare your home to compete with new construction.
Right. And then some of those small updates that you can do that do have more of a big impact when you are looking at competing with them is lighting, hardware, warmer paint colors, definitely decluttering, and
Yep.
staging spaces, whether they're inside or outside, staging those spaces so that it looks more inviting and more and it will appeal to more buyers in the end.
And I'll say with existing homes, outdoor spaces is where you can really set yourself apart because most new construction does not come with things like a fence or a covered patio or landscaping, pools, things like that. So if you've got anything that you've done outside, make sure that you're really highlighting that. But in most cases with new construction, you might get the covered patio, but you're not getting a lot of those other things that takes time to kind of do. Also, curb appeal sets the tone. I just mentioned landscaping. Your front door, does it need a new fresh coat of paint? Put it on there. I mean, it's the first thing people are going to see. Exterior lighting, that's an easy change that really makes a big difference.
Like they say, curb appeal is everything. It's the first impression. So
Yeah.
make sure it looks top notch. And
Yes.
then inside, again, making sure every room really does feel intentional. Buyers are buying a lifestyle, not just square footage. Can't stress that enough. So be
Yeah.
intentional.
I love that. And again, you don't need to do a full remodel before you list, but you just need to present it well and have some purpose in those rooms.
It's all about strategy.
Yes, it is.
All right, now for some rapid fire, just quick answers, Stacy. We're each going to give our own opinion on these. All right. The first
Okay.
one is your favorite trend.
Outdoor living spaces.
Mine would definitely be the natural wood elements.
Most practical luxury feature.
I'm going to say the pantry and storage.
I'm going to say the scullery prep kitchen butler pantry.
What was your biggest wow factor?
For sure, the windows and doors.
For me, the beamwork and arches.
Most overrated.
For me, bold finishes in the large, inexpensive areas.
I like that. I'm going to say giant formal rooms that nobody uses.
That's fair. All right, best update for sellers.
I'm going to say lighting.
I'm going to say giving every room an actual purpose.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like our big takeaway from our field trip we took in Zionsville is that luxury today is about how a home lives, not just how it looks.
I think what I found out on this home tour, Jessica, is that these parade of homes tours are great for anyone, buyers, sellers, builders, or dreamers. You can take away what's trending in new construction, what, again, as a seller, what you're competing against. So with buyers, what you might like to see in your next home, even if your budget isn't 3 million, maybe some design ideas or ways to organize your home that would work even in a home with a lower budget.
And so, if you are looking for new construction, reach out before you start touring. We can help you understand the different builders, the incentives, upgrades, and contracts.
Yes. And for sellers, if you're wondering what updates actually move the needle, we can help with that too.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Hoosier Homes and Hustles.
Let's hustle smarter
Together.